Good morning, guys. I woke up this morning and I couldn't get this off my mind. We've been watching March 22nd, 2013, because it was 1,260 days to the day after our president won the Nobel Peace Prize, promising Israel at that time that he would protect them from nuclear proliferation and from the hostilities of their neighbors. When he won that Nobel Peace Prize, this giant spiral, like portal, opened up a mile wide over the skies of Norway. It was reported by news agencies around the world. And then 1,260 days later, he enters the Church of the Nativity, which my sister had done the numbers from the book of Daniel back in 2012, and said that if he was, who he may be, that he would have to be in Jerusalem March 22nd, 2013. Of course, we're wondering what would he do, because there was no temple. But the Bible doesn't say temple. In that context, it says holy fortress, strong fortress. That's what the Church of the Nativity is. So he goes in, he doesn't bow, shuts down the daily sacrifice communion of the tourists. He goes in with a boss, head of Hamas, who vows to destroy Israel. The Bible says it will be destruction on his wing. He was the head of the army that shot up the Park Hotel, bombed the Park Hotel in 2002, and then they barricaded themselves in that exact church, the Church of the Nativity, and used the Bibles as toilet paper and shot up the church. So they had desecrated the church. He goes in with the head of that army and takes him to the place where Jesus was born, and just doesn't bow, doesn't show any sign of reverence. So we thought that was significant, but many of us were watching from that point what would happen. That turned out to be the very month ISIS entered their first city with the weapons he left, and began their path of destruction. And it was the month that he began secret negotiations with Iran, and that turns out to be, devastating for Israel, because they now are at Israel's northern border, as Damascus is about to fall, mostly destroyed. 20 miles from the border of Israel is where they are. So I was just wondering, what we saw, that on the 1290th day, the last of the founding fathers of Israel, the final day of his funeral, Perez, took place on that day. And the 1335th day, Jupiter enters the constellation Virgo and sets up the Revelation 12 sign in the sky that took place, before our eyes. But, I felt like there was a delay, because the Bible speaks of a delay. The 10 virgins spoken of in Matthew, the bridegroom was delayed, and many of them fell asleep. And the Revelation speaks of there shall be no more delay. Well, I was just wondering, what is the delay, really? Because I think it must have taken place at some point. The Bible says that we're supposed to pay attention to the sign of Jonah. God will give us a sign. And that sign of Jonah, I think, took place 490 days after March 22nd, 2013. It would be on the 490th day. I was looking at the 444th day at one point, which was the fall of ancient Nineveh, where Jonah was commanded to go and preach. That was Mosul, Iraq, which turned out to be the most Christian city in Iraq that they destroyed first. Well, it wasn't the 444th day. I believe it's the 490th day when ISIS destroyed the tomb of Jonah. That would be the sign of Jonah. They destroyed his ancient tomb. And the Bible, 490 days is 70 times 7. I'm going to leave a link below that will explain that God always measures time with Israel according to sevens. And that is how he functions when it comes to Israel. And so there was another word I was looking for, and it lost me, but you guys that do videos know what I'm talking about. But anyway, all I can say is, from the time of Jonah's tomb being destroyed, 1,290 days later, we come to when he released those memos, and he was warned not to, because they're so revealing, basically, it's what is hidden is now revealed at that point. Well, the stock market crashed 666 points, and then Philadelphia won the Super Bowl. And, you know, people can say, oh, that's just so funny that you would place significance on that. In Revelation, the Church of Philadelphia is the only church who is guaranteed to miss the Great Tribulation, when it says, I know you're tired, but because you've not denied my name, I will spare you from the hour of trial that's coming to judge the whole earth and those who live in it. That's the Church of Philadelphia, and that's what the city of Philadelphia was named after. So all those events occurring at the 1290th day after Jonah's tomb was destroyed may be significant, you know, because we look at Trump as being, you know, he is the first world leader in 2,000 years that declared Jerusalem as being Israel's capital, which it is. Read Zechariah 12. Read Zechariah 12. All right, and then he was 70 years old, 7 months, 7 days when he took office, and 7 months to the day we have the Great American Eclipse that enters the 33rd state, exits the 33rd parallel, crosses 7 cities named Salem, named after Jerusalem, the city that he would declare as the capital of Israel. So then the 1335th day from the fall of Jonah's tomb, or destruction of Jonah's tomb, is March 20th, 10 days before Passover. And so I believe that the 20th of March is going to be significant. Passover this year is going to be highly significant. So we just have to watch and see what, you know, all of this means. We don't know the day or the hour, but we know the season, because Damascus is about to fall, and all of the nations that God said would be involved in the war of Gog and Magog are at the border of Israel now. Every single one of them. Ethiopia, mentioned, of course, is part of the Queen of Sheba's original territory, which consisted of Yemen and Ethiopia. And they're shooting, their Houthi rebels are now shooting rockets at Iran, Saudi Arabia, to distract them. So we've got a lot going on. But if you're listening to this and you don't know Jesus, I just encourage you, read the book of John. Read it 3 times, and that will convince you how much Jesus adores you, how much he loves you. Read Isaiah 53, written 600 years before Jesus' birth, and it prophesies of him. And look at, you know, Charles Stanley's ministry is just wonderful. And Ravi Zacharias. I'll put some links in my description box, because now is the time to embrace Jesus with all your heart, because he has purchased your salvation. He who knew no sin became sin on the cross, that you may become the righteousness of God.